Just to let you know, I fell in love with the doctrine of union with Christ over 10 years ago. I picked up Peter Jeffrey's little book published by Montaigne Press called White-Sized Theology, and there's a little chapter there, I've got to speak louder, a little chapter in there on union with Christ, a very, very brief chapter, and I thought, wow, what is this? It's a goosebumps doctrine, as they all are. And I thought, wow, union with Christ, it sounds like it's the centre of the gospel, and not just how we are saved, but how we walk out our Christian life. So that was it. I was sold on union with Christ, and Errol Davis pushed me into doing some research on this doctrine, which I did, and this little book has come out of that. But it's very different from my thesis because it's much more biblical and less kind of systematic-y. I delve into the book of Colossians, which, as you know, is incredibly drenched in Christ kind of language and imagery. So this book is about teaching the biblical doctrine of union with Christ and its application to every day, particularly for the contemporary women. So what that means at the sink, changing a nappy, driving the car, at work, looking after your elderly mother. You know, even though Rose is right, the language is perhaps contemporary, you might associate with younger people, it's for women of all ages and all walks of life. And union with Christ is glorious, and it's glorious because it has so many practical realizations. You know, it means that we are united to Christ even here and now. And what does that mean? And the book is really unpacking that. What is the glory of a union with Christ? What does it mean on Monday morning when you don't want to get out of bed, which is a common experience for me. So it talks about the glory that we find in our union with Christ. And the book also explores the Titus 2 mandate. There's a couple of chapters on that for women, and women training women, and pastoring women, and discipling women. And the Lord's Supper, there's a chapter in there. It was an article that was published in EN a few years ago, and that's been changed and put in here. And also there's the conclusion is on the armour of God. Now these three things, the armour of God, the Lord's Supper, Titus 2, it's all in relation to union with Christ. So the book, hopefully, is, you know, drenched in this glorious doctrine. You know, I hope, my aim was to write a book that was kind of devastatingly pastoral, because life is hard and we need to know, you know, what does the blood of Christ, what does our union with Christ mean for when we're full of sorrow and grief and doubt and despair. So the plan was to write a book that was really pastoral, and I hope that if you read the book that you find that is the case. So yeah, my prayer has been through writing this book that it would be a great encouragement for women, particularly that they would be encouraged and think creatively about how they can enjoy Christ and in a biblical way, because the Bible at the end of the day is our best and only resource for our Christian life. And I think it's apt that this book has been launched with Stuart's, because I think they sit hand in hand very well. They're both very practical and both spirituality driven, as well as, but in relation to being anchored in the gospel and the doctrines that we so love. So yeah, I do commend, obviously, my book to you. I do just want to say thank you so much to Errol Davis and Sheila, because they really had the vision of this book. I had the privilege of writing it, but it really was them. That Sheila was like, come on, Natalie, what do you want to give women? Get down, give me a proposal. And I eventually, after a few years, gave her this one. So thanks to Sheila, and thanks to Dr. D, who has been my supervisor and my editor. So thank you so much for coming, and yeah, thank you.